For all of time, women have been regarded as the weaker sex. We have been discriminated against because of our sex, and God forbid a woman was African American and tried to do something with her life. Thank God for the Ursula Burns and Bessie Colemans of this world, or others faced with the double stigma of being African American and a woman might still be at the bottom of the ladder. Bessie Coleman was a black woman with the urge to do something great, something that would give her freedom, finally, in her 1890s life of lynchings, race riots, and discrimination. Flying. Everyone rich and great flew, so she wanted to too. Why should she be any different from Why should she be any different from other people? She had to learn to fly in France, because no American flight school would admit her. She was the first African American woman to fly. She said no to the dream squashers and flew off into the sunsets of France. Even in France, she wasn't fully accepted. She was the only African American in her class, so of course she got the plane that was known to stop working in midair. Of course. She never gave up though. Good old Coleman. She worked hard, and in a few months, she knew how to fly. Coleman worked in shows and flew with the utmost confidence. No one could stop her until her unfortunate death in 1926. She died from a plane crash. Even though a plane was her cause of death, she loved what she did, and is now known for persevering through her life of double stigma. In this respect, Ursula Burns is very similar. She was also bred from the double stigma effect. Who wouldn't want to get released from the reign of a racist, and sexist guys created by no society like the one we're living in today? Her mother helped her think outside the box by always telling her that where she was didn't define who she was. She went to Catholic school for her teenage life and was told she had to be a nurse, a nun, or a teacher. As none of them really fit her personality, she went to a big New York college for science, even though she was apprehensive at first. Burns was really scared of not being good enough or trying her hardest but still failing. She was the only black female in her class, similar to Bessie Coleman. She took catch-up classes in mechanical engineering and found her path. Burns was an extremely intelligent woman, and her concerns about being a failure were silly. She's now the CEO of Xerox, the name that has become synonymous with copy machines everywhere. Yes, this double stigmatized woman rose to the top and doesn't plan on getting down anytime soon.
As Emily mentioned, women have definitely been discriminated against throughout the course of history. They've been seen as the weaker sex and have been brought down with other stereotypes. For generations, it was expected that a woman was to stay home and take care of the kids. Obviously, this does not have to be the case. Women can do any job a man can. In the early 1900s, it was unheard of for a woman to do a man's job. Later on in history, this would change.
After the bombing of Pearl Harbor, the United States joined the Allies to fight in World War II.
When a great number of men were off fighting, they left their jobs behind. And during World War II, it was crucial for all the materials to be mobilized for the war effort. This was one of the most important aspects of being successful in war.
All the materials needed for war were mass-produced in factories.
Men dominated the factories, but if they were away at war, who would take their place? Due to the lack of workers, women finally were given the chance they craved and deserved.
At this time, women were working in factories doing the same jobs as men.
The work these women did significantly impacted the war effort. Along with producing the desperately needed supplies, women also made substantial efforts overseas.
There were also women in uniform during World War II.
The Army is an extremely male-dominated force, and the fact that women were successful in that field is just another way of proving what they're capable of. If women can fight for their country, honestly, what can't they do? Overseas, women also had behind-the-scenes jobs that provided excellent contributions.
Women also were able to test planes, work in labs, and serve as radio operators.
These brave, hardworking women played an important role in the success of the United States. If it weren't for these women, the outcome could have been drastically different. Even President Eisenhower believed that it wouldn't have been possible to win the war without the hard work of these women. The work women did in World War II essentially set the stage for women to venture towards male-dominated jobs. Today, in modern-day America, there are women who work in the same areas that are customarily dominated by men.
These women are the rosy derivatives of the 21st century and are proving that they can do it.
Today, women work as firefighters. This job is extremely male-dominated, and only 3% of firefighters are women. Despite this, they still work very hard and put their lives on the line every day to save others. These brave women get the job done and work just as well as any man could. Emergency medical services were once dominated by men, but now a great deal of women work every day to save the lives of others just as well as any man could. In the 1940s, women were not seen as equal as men, and the men didn't think that they could do the same jobs that they did. When men returned from the war, the women lost their jobs. Even though they proved that they could work and they made a great impact on the war efforts, they were not able to keep what they've been doing. The ideas of inferiority still lingered, and they are still very much present in modern day life. Today, women still aren't equal to men.
This is clearly seen in the pay gap, but despite this, change is still being made. Women such as Ursula Burns, who rose up to be the CEO of a major company, show that there is so much that women can achieve. The brave women who provided aid during World War II or the brave women who work as firefighters today are inspirations and also strengthen the capacity to work.
Overall, there is still a lot that needs to be changed to get women to be seen as equal. Change is possible. The many successful women who surpass the many obstacles serve as motivation, and hopefully many more women will join amongst the ranks.
This brings us to a monumental but controversial topic, the pay gap. Let's just get down to it. Women make less than men. We do the same work, but don't get paid as much, which doesn't make any sense. A white woman makes 77 cents to the man's dollar, but an African American woman only makes 64 cents to the man's dollar. That leaves a gap of 36% for African American women. In Pennsylvania, there's a 22% gap for all women. That's insane. It may not look like much now, but it could mean the choice between the electric or heating bill for a single mother. In Pennsylvania, there are a few laws trying to even out this unjust system. One is the Paycheck Fairness Act, which is trying to fix loopholes made in the Equal Pay Act, which is old and needs updates anyway. Also, the Fair Pay Act is trying to change the way equal pay is distributed, and if it goes through, it'll be a huge step for women in the workforce. Even though sexism still exists, women of all races and backgrounds need to push on. Why can't we be just as good as men? We are, but others need help to see it. It's rumored that women will have equal pay by 2058, but as Lily Allen so wisely said, there's a glass ceiling to break and I've got money to make, so it's time to speed it up because I can't move at this pace.